Welcome to Conversations from Stritch. Today is April 25th, 2024. I'm Dr. David Livingston, president of Lewis University, and I'm joined by Dr. Christopher Sent, our provost. This morning, I just had a great time. It's Take Our Daughters and Sons to Work Day. I was in the theater this morning with, I would say, 40 or 50 of the children of our employees. It's been just exciting to have this much life and excitement on campus as these tiny people experience a wide variety of what Lewis has to offer, and hopefully sparks their curiosity about college and about careers. I was able to hear about, a couple people that are excited because they're moving into first grade in just a few weeks. They're graduating from kindergarten. So it was a great day, great morning, lots of excitement. We had another great community hour on Wednesday. Denim Day awareness event happened. The Sexual Citizens Book Club met. The robotics competition. We had a resume workshop and mass, as we always have every Wednesday. This week on, I think it was Monday night, I'm losing track of time, Chris and I were both at the Brother David Delahunty Awards, and some of our outstanding athletes celebrated. We had literally hundreds of students that are student athletes that have between a 3.25 and a 4.0 GPA. That is over their entire career. Some of them, of course, are first-year students, and so that was calculated on one semester of work. Some of them are fifth year who are in a fifth season and have been doing 3.5 or 3.9 work for 4 or 5 years. It was really an incredible event. We had celebration of service on Wednesday this week. It's the time of year where we have so many amazing events. And I want to give a special congratulations to Professor John Kilpatrick, who won our highest honor, the Distinguished LaSallian Educator Award. An amazing person, committed to the experience for our students, but also committed to his colleagues here. He does so much extra work over and above to make sure that things are recorded and done well and produced well. And then he does things for the community. It was, one of the things that was talked about is his work that he's done for children that are born with a cleft palate, and trying to help people to understand the power that surgery can have for the lives of those individuals. Just incredible work, and we're so proud of him. The recognition ceremony for nursing is tomorrow night, and then Saturday morning we have the plane pull for Special Olympics. That'll be a great event. I know there's multiple teams from campus. We have off-campus teams, like I know the Lockport Fire District always has a team. So there's other teams from around the area. But we have multiple teams that are Lewis employees and Lewis students who will be coming and pulling that plane and trying to win the competition. And then before I turn it over to Chris, I just wanted to mention that we do have our Board of Trustees meeting on Monday this coming week. Two big things that happen at this meeting. We approve our working budget, but we also approve those candidates on our faculty who are up for tenure. It's a really momentous time. I think for the university, obviously for those individuals who are, have been working over the last 5, 6, 7 years to put forward their portfolio for tenure. But for a university, it is just such an exciting time because for Chris and I, we get to review these profiles, and the individuals are just incredible people, well-rounded. They're giving service to the community, service to the Lewis community. They're doing incredible scholarship, as Chris always mentions, and he will be talking about some of our scholarly activity here in a minute. And we also, of course, they are amazing in the classroom. So we are just so proud of all of them, and we will be bringing them forward to the full board on Monday for the approval. So with that, I'll turn it over to you, Chris. I know there's a ton of stuff going on in your world that you want to talk about.
Yeah, it's great to be here with everyone, and also just everything that you just mentioned is so it is wild, and we're going to talk about a lot more events that are happening and coming up in a few minutes, and there's so much exciting things going on. It's great to see as we were walking over here, there were Lewis employees, staff and faculty with their children at the lunch and just walking around campus, getting their pictures taken in front of the counter and so on. It's wonderful to have children out and about on our campus today. Also, let me just extend my congratulations to Professor Kilpatrick. Extraordinary honor and very well deserved. And yes, I could not agree more that it's a really great privilege that we get to review all of the applications for tenure for our faculty, because it is such a, and I have this great honor of being able to present them to our board, and it's one of my favorite parts of the year is to be able to really share the accomplishments of our faculty with our board members. So I'm going to start today by giving an update about our Oak Point Teach Out. As we mentioned a few weeks ago, last time we were here, the Oak Point University announced plans in early April to cease all operations and close at the end of spring 2024, which they did just last Friday. So as part of our ongoing networking with institutions in the region, Lewis was asked to serve as a formal teach-out institution for the students at Oak Point so that they may continue their programs of study without having any interruptions. So Lewis is especially well positioned to serve in this role because we have significant overlap between our nursing programs and health science programs and the fact that our Oak Brook campus is only just a few blocks away from the Oak Point main campus. So this is an opportunity for us to alleviate some of the stress and mitigate disruption for those students that this closure has had on their lives. So a teach out is a formal process guided by the Higher Learning Commission that allows Lewis to assume responsibility for the completion of the programs that students started at Oak Point. Students transfer all of their credits and continue their studies at Lewis, eventually earning a degree. So some students may earn or will earn their degrees this summer, and some will continue on into next year. There are about 450 students enrolled this spring. About 50 of those graduated last week at the close of the university, and now the vast majority of those remaining students are enrolling in Lewis. And they began enrolling yesterday at our first of 4 orientation sessions that are taking place this week and next week. And I was there. It was a wonderful, really lively, positive event where students were introduced formally to Lewis advisors and to do what they do at Lewis orientations, which is get connected to the support structure as well as enroll in their summer terms. So once they're enrolled, these former Oak Point students will become Lewis students with all the rights accorded to any student at Lewis. And when they complete their degree requirements, they will receive a diploma from Lewis University. So in order to prepare for this big influx of students with relatively short notice, we are adding additional course sections, hiring some of the faculty and staff from Oak Point to teach and support the students, and preparing additional labs and learning spaces at our Oak Brook campus, and much more. So I just want to again thank all of the members of our community and the Department of Nursing and many offices across the university, from the registrar to the business office to technology and facilities, who are working so hard to make this teach out successful. Another piece of news, big news, the United States Congress has finalized the community project funding of $950,000 for Lewis University, secured by Representative Lauren Underwood in the 2024 appropriation bill. The funding supports innovation in semiconductor manufacturing through research at Lewis University's Semiconductor Innovation and Workforce Development Center. Lewis University students, scientists, and semiconductor manufacturers are all going to be collaborating to improve production processes and meet workforce needs in the industry. The center's innovations help advance innovative technologies in Illinois and boost domestic semiconductor manufacturing, which is critical to domestic economic growth and national security. So this award can be attributed to Professor Jason Kelleher and the work that he and his students have done as the Kelleher Research Group over several years leading up to this request. The Kelleher Research Group is considered a leading driver for fundamental research in the area of ultra-clean processing and surface preparation technology. The research group has been widely published in international journals and is a highly sought-out presenter at international conferences. More than 25 Lewis University students are actively in careers at leading-edge research and manufacturing sites such as Intel, and Integris, Applied Materials, and Vibrance Technologies. So congratulations to everyone who's worked on that leading up to this award. It's a real big honor, and we really think of it as a beginning of something. And there are we will probably do a kickoff, maybe in the fall, maybe in the beginning of summer, to launch and celebrate this accomplishment as we begin to alter some of the research laboratories in the science building beginning this summer. Congratulations to Mary Fisher, Associate Professor of Elementary and Special Education, who recently published an article in Research and Practice for Persons with Severe Disabilities, a really critically acclaimed and widely read journal in the field of disability studies. The article's called Access to the General Education Curriculum for Students with Extensive Support Needs, Experts' Perspectives, and discusses how students with extensive support needs have better outcomes when they are included in general education settings and receive access to state-adopted general education standards. Professor Fisher also presented at the March 2024 Council for Exceptional Children annual conference alongside Dr. Christy Roberts, Professor of Special Education, to further discuss disabled students' role in education. The professors gave a presentation called Voices Not Yet Heard, Survey About State Instructional Mandate Disability. Congratulations to Assistant Professor of Social Work, Dr. Edson Chapalo, who also explored education in his recently published article in The Teacher Educator, a journal devoted to teacher preparation and continued professional development. Chapalo examines parental involvement in children's education among recently resettled refugees in his article called Parental Involvement in Children's Education in the United States. Congratulations to Dr. Erica Kwitkatsky-Agizio, Associate Professor of Secondary Education and Middle Education and Foreign Language Programs, who's been appointed President of the Illinois Association of Teacher Education in Private Colleges, a really high honor and wonderful for Lewis that the leader of the statewide organization in teacher preparation is a Lewis professor. So yeah, pretty impressive bunch of work happening.
And let me say out loud to you, Chris, you know, you've done a ton of work on this Oak Point. I know you were there for the orientation and will be there for all the orientations this week and next week. But you and a whole team of people that you already mentioned have just done incredible work. It's not, certainly not something we do every day, and it's no simple task to functionally stand up a whole new university within the university or new college within the university in 6 weeks. And that's really what we're doing. So April 13th or May 13th, we'll be totally ready for that. And then, you know, all the other accolades for, you know, the stuff that's going on this campus every week is amazing, but a really great list of things. So just a few things about events, and then we'll get to our guest. Representative Barbara Hernandez is on campus right in 15 minutes. She'll be over. So if you're watching this on your phone and you maybe walk over to AS 158A. Representative Hernandez is in the Illinois General Assembly. She represents kind of Aurora area in the Illinois General Assembly. I do want to say that the I Love Lewis picnic is also tonight from 4 to 6. I drove by there and there's looks like maybe a volleyball net. Or maybe it'll be people playing badminton. It looks more like a badminton net, but a backyard volleyball net. And just lots of fun stuff there. We also, on top of that, Flyer Idol will be in the Wadsworth patio tonight. And of course, Godspell's playing all weekend. So if you haven't seen Godspell, I highly recommend getting over there and doing that. I also wanted to say there's a plane pull this weekend. I mentioned that. You know, the athletic teams are wrapping things up. Men do host Rockhurst this weekend in men's lacrosse. it should be a good match, and I think that'll go well. We also have the Arbor Day tree planting that'll be happening tomorrow, so feel free to join for that. As you see, there's lots of other events on the list. Softball hosts Quincy. I do want to just little shout out to Coach Becky Pearl. She won her 500th game last week. That is an incredible record at any school. So as a Lewis coach, won her 500th game, and they have been really playing well. They won a doubleheader that day to give her her 500th. I think the men's baseball team is on number 13. Is that correct, Chris?
I think they've won 11 in a row.
11 in a row.
Yeah.
All right, maybe I'm getting ahead of them because they have 2 this
Yeah,
weekend.
don't
They'll win the next 2.
jinx
No,
it.
they won 11 in a row, which is also incredible. So there's just a lot of things going on that you see on the screen. Of course, we have Mass this weekend, and there's a Nerf war happening also on Monday in the field house. So if you are getting ready for finals and you need to take out a little aggression, you can get a Nerf gun and shoot it at your friends. So that might be fun. We're excited about all the things that are coming up. There are a few athletic events that are coming up as well that we're looking forward to, traveling for some of our squads that'll be off campus. But again, we have just exciting things. I was talking to some of our coaches at the Delahunty Awards. The Drake Relays it's a big national meet. Many people are familiar with the Drake Relays, and we feel good about how we'll place in that. The weather actually hasn't been great for outdoor running or baseball or softball. So to see them doing as well as they did at Notre Dame, and I'm sure we'll do this well this weekend at Drake Relays, it's exciting. And then, of course, we have all the tournaments that'll be coming forward in the next few weeks. Golf will be in their tournament. The women's golf tournament is in Cole Valley on the 27th and 28th. So amazing amount of activity. It just feels like we push it to the max in the last month, and then we try to take a break. But it's exciting these next 3 weeks. And we're going to talk about another incredibly exciting event that both of us were able to be a part of, Chris, with our guest.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Before we get to that, let me just also congratulate Becky for her tremendous career as our softball coach, and wonderful that it's happening during one of the best seasons of all time for the softball team as well. And again, it isn't over yet. I don't want to get in the way of the progress that they're making, but they've had an incredible season, and we're looking forward to how the tournaments go at the end of the year. Before I introduce our guests, let me remind you that you may email questions about the topic for the day for any of us, or any comments. Please feel free to use the askus@lewisu.edu address that is there at the bottom of the screen. And then you can also remember that if you're watching a recorded version of this, it's an email address and you can still use it. Feel free to ask a question even if we're not live. But if you do it now, we'll be watching and get your question into the conversation. So I'm really happy to be talking today with our guest about celebration of scholarship. And I'd like to introduce Dr. Marie Meyer, who is an assistant professor in the ECAMS department. She earned her PhD in mathematics from the University of Kentucky, studying algebraic combinatorics. Every year I pronounce it differently. Her current research interests include games played on graphs and math education. She especially enjoys working with undergraduate students on research projects and is currently mentoring 3 semester-long math research groups. Okay, Marie, welcome.
Welcome. We're glad to have you.
Yes, thank you. Combinatorics. It's actually the study of counting.
Combinatorics.
Combinatorics.
Meaning combining this group of 3 rocks with that group of 4 rocks. That's combinatorics.
Exactly. That's the basics of it. And believe me,
a
counting
little
can
more
get
complicated
really
than that, I know.
difficult
Might
when
be
we're
bigger than 3.
infinite. Yes, sometimes.
I just thought I'd throw it in there when you say it's just about, not
Counting.
just, it is about counting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Base.
Great. So I'm so excited. Could you maybe, for people who are watching who are not completely immersed in Lewis and Celebration of Scholarship, just give us a little explanation of what it is?
Yeah, certainly. So I'm one of the planners of Celebration of Scholarship with Matt D'Amico. He's our other kind of co-chair in charge. So Celebration of Scholarship is an academic showcase. I think I like to describe it. It's a day that Lewis University invites its students, undergraduates and graduate students, to showcase either a research project they've been working on, any sort of scholarly work. Perhaps they have some poetry they would like to share, any visual project they want to showcase. And the public is invited to come, experience the scholarship that's happening at Lewis. We have sports events, right? We have musical concerts for those music groups. So I'd like Celebration of Scholarship to be a sample of the students' academic side that they get to showcase to the public. And so it's really a celebration.
And a lot of times they do these things sometimes off campus. I know you take groups of students all the time to conferences, but they don't have a huge number of opportunities to do that, and we don't get to watch them.
Right, we don't.
They're usually off campus, whereas athletics is competing here.
Right.
So that's really nice to get to see what they're doing out there.
Exactly.
So you mentioned some of this, but I'd like to just emphasize that there's a way in which it kind of reminds me, or the best analogy that some people might have is a university level science fair, but it's way more than that, which is what I want you to comment on. You might comment on a little bit, but it includes the arts, it includes business, it includes, as you say, kind of reading, so that ability to be, orally proficient. And then there were some new things this year that we added, right? The 3-minute thesis for undergrads, or 3-minute thesis for grads, but then the STEM Slam. So could you talk just a little bit about, I guess, the breadth? I mean, we can talk about the depth, because it all is about depth in some sense, right? Because they're doing their scholarship. But the breadth of opportunities and I want people that are watching this, both faculty and students, because we need the faculty mentors. Maybe we can talk more about that. But sometimes a faculty member could invite a student to do something when a student wouldn't necessarily do it on their own. And sometimes it's going to be a student who says, I'd really like to be a part of this because I think it would be great to do, and they need to ask a faculty member. So maybe you could just talk about the breadth part, because I think all of our students have an opportunity to be engaged in this.
Yes, exactly. So it is more than an academic conference, as you referenced. So if you are a business student that has a business idea, we offer this business plan and pitch competition where you get to pitch your idea to a panel of judges, and there's a lot of award money there. So the idea is you can win the award money and then actually implement your business idea. We have the President's Art Show award winners showcased, and the winners actually give a talk on Celebration of Scholarship, so that's always in the studio theater. We have a creative work session where students that did some sort of original composition or maybe some project for one of their visual arts classes, they get to present their work there. We have these new exciting 3-minute competitions that you referenced. So last year was our first 3-minute thesis for graduate students. Of course, all of those students have to make a thesis as part of their degree. And so their challenge is to disseminate their research to an audience of broad background in only 3 minutes, which is very impressive. I've never done it myself, but I really admire those students to do it.
And beyond just the 3 minutes, it's one static slide,
One
right?
slide, exactly.
Which, for many, I think, some of us get this kind of, jaded by PowerPoint, right? It's like, here's 20 PowerPoint slides, I'm going to explain. And there's nothing wrong with that, and that's our students do that in the other sessions.
Yeah, in the longer.
But to be able to do one static slide and then in 3 minutes give it to an audience is pretty impressive. I was very impressed by both the grad and undergrad side of that.
Right, and it was great to introduce the undergraduate version of that kind of competition this year. We had 7 participants representing all the disciplines, so we called it a STEM and HOS Slam. So STEM is a common acronym, but I think more people are not as familiar with HOS, so humanities, arts, and social sciences. That was a fun competition as well. Yeah. We also had our Dr. Stephanie Schlachter Award finalist session, so we got to feature that during extended community hour.
Is that the first time we've done that, like as we got the finalists and they're all
All in
presenting
the-
at the same time as opposed to in different rooms around campus. Or
Yes.
in a centralized, maybe we did it in one session before, but it was
Right.
over in the other
Yeah.
building.
It was.
Now it's been, I guess what I would say, raised because it's highlighted in the studio theater.
It is, and we were really kind of intentional about that because we wanted to make sure everyone at Lewis University was available to come. So we really took advantage of that extended community hour time,
Yeah.
and we got Stephanie Schlachter herself attended,
Yeah.
which was great because this was her first celebration since COVID.
Yeah.
She was telling me about.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah.
really great.
Uh,
Yeah, I
it
loved
was just a
watching
great
all those
day.
finalists at the same time. And
Yeah.
I'm sure good for the judges too, probably.
Oh yes, very good for the judges and
See
good
it
for the
all.
students to have a room
Yeah.
full of support. So we had it in the studio theater this year, so Lewis's second kind
Yeah.
of large space, which I thought was a very great environment.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really was.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us a little bit about how a like something, a poster presentation or a panel presentation, how does it come from nothing into being, and how do the faculty participate in that?
So there's a lot of different kind of pathways to celebration of scholarships for the students. So it starts with scholarly work that a student is working on. So all of the students that showcase at Celebration do have a faculty mentor. So they have to find a faculty mentor who's either helping them guide their project, or perhaps they have them kind of sign off on their project before they present a celebration of scholarship. So that scholarship can happen anytime since the last celebration of scholarship. So any new work that you do starting now is eligible to present next year, next April. It's a long process, so we do have abstract deadlines. So this is a peer-reviewed process, so students will submit an abstract of their work. We have a committee that reviews the abstracts. So students do have to get accepted to present a celebration of scholarship. And then starting in March, the students are working to prepare their presentation. Now they could either do a poster presentation, which is I would say a little more informal. So you're in a poster in the field house and you have, people come around and review your poster. Those posters get judged by faculty. So that's always an exciting part of celebration, all of the awards, which I'm sure we'll
Right.
talk about later. Students can also choose to give a 15-minute talk on their research as part of one of the concurrent sessions. Another presentation type we're really trying to promote are what are called panels, also known as roundtable discussions.
Yeah.
So this is a common presentation type for a humanities discipline conference. So I'm personally learning more about it, but the idea is there's a lot of pre-work where students share their analysis regarding some sort of topic, and then the students come together and have a very lively discussion over the works they've reviewed.
Yeah.
I love that
I feel
model.
like,
I mean, I
Chris
think
and I have
it's
probably been both a part of those
Yeah.
academic conferences. I think it is great. It's a great model and
and
great
challenging.
to get the humanities.
I mean,
Oh,
it's
very.
challenging for
Because you have to read
established
other people's
scholars
research.
Right.
as
Yeah.
well as for
Yeah.
so for students to do it. It's really
So-
impressive.
I just want to, I don't think we mentioned this. Maybe we did, and I was thinking about something else when you started this, Chris. But did we mention how many students all in were involved this year? So how many students were involved in Celebration of Scholarship? Was it flat with last year? Was it up? What's the
Yeah.
interest, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
That's good. So this year, I think the number was 232. So I had to put together all the registration sign-ins and the name tags. But yeah, so this. At least in the last 3 years, it was the greatest number of student participation. I would say we had about the same number of presentations as last year. We had more groups of students presenting this year, I think was one of the main differences. But our poster numbers exploded from 62 to 83. Our concurrent sessions were a little bit down, but I think a lot of students were very excited with the prospect of presenting their poster in the field house. But we have more undergraduate participation than graduate, but it's right up there.
Yeah, it seems like the graduate is growing.
It is growing.
I'm not basing that on numbers, but just in terms of how much there is embedded in the program compared to 5 years ago or something like that.
Oh yes, exactly. And I think faculty members play a really important part about this. Many students don't know to apply to Celebration or don't know to start thinking about Celebration Scholarship. So I think if you're a faculty member and you see a student do some sort of work that you believe would be great to showcase on Celebration of Scholarship, I would encourage them to reach out to their students and get them to present. I know that's what I did with my students, and it was really good for them.
And I just want to push a little bit on this what you just talked about a little while ago about kind of the humanities and the social sciences, the arts, I would say, and I'll maybe even set aside the arts. I think the arts, many of them are used to presenting publicly because they have opportunities to do that in high school, and I'm kind of doing this undergrad thing. The sciences, people even who don't want to go into the sciences often have to do a science fair project when they're in high school, or many of them do. So they're used to those two things. But for the humanities and the social sciences, as a high school student, you're not as used to presenting in a scholarly way, I guess is what I would say. I think in high school, it's less common. Not that, I think there were, at least when I was in high school, people would do some psych research with like little mice or whatever, when they were doing that kind of stuff. But I think in the humanities and for instance, sociology, I saw some stuff on criminal justice when I was there this year. There were some great presentations across the social sciences and across the humanities. There was a Shakespeare roundtable, as you said. So there's some just really great events, and I just want to kind of invite our students to think kind of outside the box. Like they can do a presentation on something that they're really passionate about, and it could be in any discipline. We have 120 different programs in this university, but there are lots of different classes that they take where they might say, this is really something that I want to do it on.
Yes, certainly. If they can offer some sort of original perspective and go dive deep into whatever topic they're into, I would certainly encourage them to apply to make a presentation.
And so, one of the things that I think is interesting, and sometimes when I'm at the awards, so one of the things that we want to talk about was awards. So there's a lot of awards categories. Sometimes I think some of the students if there's first time there, they're kind of shocked by the size of the business competition awards.
Oh, the dollar award.
The dollar amount awards.
Yeah.
So I just want to, because I want to unpack this with the two of you. No, but I think that the difference, at least my take on the difference, and both of you could, say anything about, but there's a difference between getting an award in which your scholarly activity, like the Stephanie Schlachter Award, is honored. And it's a slightly different thing when it's a business competition in which what's being said is we are expecting you to take this money and put it into a bit it's going to cost you to, like I talked to somebody who was going to try to start up a kind of small grocery store. I talked to somebody else who was going to do an app, and they had to, those kinds of things, they cost money. Like you can't do your project without having to put money into it in order to then eventually, hopefully, get money out of it as a business. So I guess I just wanted to, I don't know if the both of you feel that way, but when you're sitting there, you're like, oh my gosh, here's $2,000 that somebody's getting, and you're like, that's a lot of money. But it's not a lot of money to start a business.
It's
nothing.
They're going to spend to do the
less than
project.
what they're going to spend to start their
Exactly.
business up. So I think that's an important thing when we get into the awards, because I think sometimes people are like, wow, I won first. I was first in the poster presentation. And there's no money. Right? Where's my check? Whereas this person did a business pitch and they're getting $2,000. So I just think
it's almost
noting that is important. They're just separate things.
The people who win the most of the awards are getting a reward for their accomplishments that are over. Not that their research can't go on, but the business pitch people are getting an investment in the future.
Exactly.
So it's like the past versus the future.
And I think that investment point is really important because that money is coming really from a pool of money that is for investing in future businesses.
Right.
The other money that comes, for instance, for the Stephanie Schlachter is, it's about honoring them for what they already did versus what they will do in the future.
And there's our Stephanie Schlachter winner right there. So Marie, maybe could you tell us a little bit about how the judging works and the awards work and so on, because it's a big part of it.
I know, so the Schlachter, at least award, they have a subcommittee of 8 faculty from across all 5 colleges at Lewis. And their selection process begins as soon as the applications close. Students are able to self-select if they'd like to be considered for this prestigious award. And then their committee takes all of the applicants and they ask for more material. So students do have to produce, longer descriptions, maybe some unfinished papers about their work, and to be reviewed by the faculty. Then the faculty, after lots of discussion, they narrowed down to their finalists. So this year we did have 4 finalists. The numbers can depend on how many students are really competitive. This year we had, 4 finalists, really representing different fields of
they were all great.
academic,
Yeah.
categories.
They were amazing to see them all together.
Right, I know
And
for
really,
them,
I was
it's
really,
tough.
I just said afterwards, I'm so glad I'm not a judge of this contest.
I felt the same way. So, one of the things that I would say about that I really noticed at the award ceremony, one, thank you, you and Matt did a great job of, the award ceremony keeps getting bigger, more people are showing up, which I think it is also about this sense of, and it's a double-edged sword, because this is what I felt when I was there.
Okay.
Real disappointment. So the
Okay.
double-edged sword for me is,
Yeah.
there were a lot of people in there who really felt like they did a great job.
And they did do a great
They
job.
did do
And
a
they
great
did.
job.
Yeah.
No, who really felt like
Incredible.
like this. I am so proud of my work, and I genuinely don't know who's going to win. I think these are the
Yeah.
components that are now beginning to be a part of this, and I'm really interested to be there. And the excitement. I mean, so both sides. The just thrilled nature of friends being excited for this person who won the poster session award or who won the panel or whatever, and then just looking at the faces of people who they're getting to the second place is done first, and now all of a sudden I really thought I might win, and I guess that goes to a good award ceremony. For me, it's like people. There is such a, I guess, competitive level. The quality of the presentations across, we maybe give out, 30 awards, but the quality across the top 100, let's say,
Right.
is really intense. And to your point, it's really hard to be a judge because it's a very fine balance between, third place, second place, first place, and then of course 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 were all equally good, almost equally good.
Yes,
right?
no, certainly.
Yeah.
This is a really good point. I do have mixed feelings about this overall, because we have to think about what's the purpose of the award in the first place, and we're trying to identify just truly outstanding scholarship and presentation of the scholarship, and so we want a way to kind of distinguish, this was truly outstanding, this student went above and beyond. Even when other students,
Of
have
course.
done great work and they did a great presentation. And so awards, we're trying to have a way to, honor those people, but also acknowledge that everyone did a great job.
Yes.
I know, thinking in the future, it'd be so great for every student to get a trophy.
Really?
Yeah, just,
Well,
but then
okay.
it becomes like I'm on both sides because, but the sense of accomplishment that the student gets, like you said, they're actually really into it because they took
They are.
pride on their
Yes.
presentation. I feel like that's great.
It is,
That's a
and
great
I would say,
outcome.
and
Yeah,
their
yeah.
friends are, even when they don't win, they're sitting there and they could have won, but they're so proud of their friends for being
Yes.
acknowledged. I
And
think
also, by
there's-
the time they're sitting there not winning, they have forgotten that they've already won by being selected
Yeah.
to be in it in the
Oh,
first
right.
place.
Oh, for the Schlachter, yes.
Or for
or
any of
for
any
us
of
being
them.
in it at all, just
Yeah.
because
That's
they
true.
could have
Yeah.
sent in an abstract that you said you're not ready. You
We-
got to
Yeah.
we
wait.
do-
Wait till next year.
Wait till next
You
year,
are not,
yes.
You're not ready.
Right.
Okay, so this is a good time to ask the question of all of us, but especially Marie.
Okay. Hit it.
Why do we do what are the outcomes that we're looking for from everything that we've talked about, from the process of building the presentation in whatever genre, the process of doing a 3-minute thesis or a STEM slam or a Haas slam, or the process of competing
Right.
against your peers for awards or anything else we've talked about.
Yeah.
Why do we
do
devote
it?
so much energy to
Yeah.
this undergraduate and graduate
Right.
research?
Well, I personally think it's so important to just a student's education overall. And this is really how society progresses. First of all, it takes research and development, understanding the world around us in order to make and identify improvements to move forward, to help people, to become more successful, whatever that might mean. But then also when you get really involved into research, you have to be able to spread that information so that it actually can be used to have an effect on the world. And so I think by encouraging students to, do the project, first of all, is important, but then also to think about how they're going to present their results to people so that it can further, I guess, the understanding of our world
Yes.
is important.
Yes.
And I think the different events that we have, the exciting competitions, they are challenging students to think more deeply about their presentation style. How did they get their ideas across? But also they're kind of fun too.
Yeah.
So it's really celebration of scholarship too.
It is.
And so
It
that's
is.
part of the awards as well.
Yeah,
it's
I
kind of a
agree.
celebration.
Yeah, and and I would
Fun.
just add to that. I mean, just because I think that's right on. I'd add two elements. One, it really feels like this communication skill set that you're talking about is key as a professional, but it's also key to getting a job. So it helps you interview.
Right.
Like if you have 15 people come up to your poster session and each of them asks you, and you're practicing this. How do I communicate this well?
Yeah.
And probably you're iterating on it because like the last time, I should have said that a little different. Then the next person comes up and you've of course practiced it multiple times with your roommate or with your faculty mentor. So I think that ability to communicate is key in all areas of our life, but communicating your professional competencies is what people try to do in an interview. Like you would want to bring me into your graduate school for this reason. So that's part of it, an interview to go to grad, or you would want me in your organization because of this. I think that's incredibly valuable. The other thing that I think happens, I don't know, is it the desired outcome, but I do think it happens is this pride in that scholarly activity that you talked about, that sense of creating new knowledge, potentially creating a new business, creating a new piece of art. But trusted and respected adults say to you, that was amazing, right? Not just in a classroom setting where you're getting graded, but they walk up, they listen to you talk, they hear the presentation, they see you talk about your artwork, and you look up to your faculty members. You look up to you might never take a class from them, but you're like, oh, Dr. Meyer, like I've heard good things about her. My friend has her in class. She's amazing. And she came up to me at a presentation and said, wow, that's really incredible. That means something to somebody, right? It's a point of pride, a point of honor. It's and I go back to, we have lots of other parts of social life. We have sports, we have other things that people go on stage and they act and get standing ovations.
Right.
This is a place where the people in my community can say out loud to me, that's incredible.
Yeah.
And we don't have that as much for scholars as we do for athletes and actors.
Yeah, that's probably a good place to stop. Marie, thank you so much
Yeah,
for
thank
doing
you so
this
much for
work.
joining us.
Thank
I know it's a
thanks
really
for-
busy time of year, so I'm really grateful that you took the time to
And
be
not
with
only
our
for
audience.
being with us here
Thank you.
today, but also for directing this with Professor
Yeah.
D'Amico, this
Yes.
amazing program for 3 years.
This is, 3 years, and I would want to thank our whole coordinating
Yes, of
committee
course.
from
Yes.
faculty and staff all across the university. We have a very great core group of faculty and staff volunteers that help us each and every year, and so their work is really important. Otherwise, this event would just not happen.
Of course. No, it's a
Absolutely.
big thing. And I know you start like next week planning for next
Oh
year.
yes, our
So-
committee meets next week.
I was
That's
gonna
exactly
say,
right.
It doesn't surprise me at all. I didn't know that for sure, but my guess is that that's the way it would happen. So thank you
Thank you.
again. Thank you to Matt and the whole coordinating committee. So we will be back next week on Thursday with a show that's featuring John Ashelou, our new athletic director. And then we have one more show after that that we will look forward to welcoming in some of the honorees that will be at commencement on the student side. And then we will be moving into summer mode, which is amazing to me. I mean, this year has gone so quick. I can't believe I'm saying that we have 2 more weeks of classes, finals, and then commencement. So many blessings to you and all those you love.